Tonight on Grady Sportsource, we'll take a look at our game of the week and all of the action happening under the Friday night lights. And the bond between this father and son duo goes beyond the sidelines, and Clark Central High School is thankful to have them both. Plus, Athens area teams are battling the heat, but this little machine is saving them. Find out how tonight on Grady Sportsource. Good evening and welcome to Grady Sportsource. I'm your host, Luke Gamble. It's a busy night for high school football in the Athens area. We'll cover each game tonight, but first, let's hear from one of our coaches from our game of the week.
You have to beat them, they won't beat themselves. So that's the challenge we have. We got to go and play our game and play with some discipline, some focus, and try to make it a fourth quarter game and see what happens in the fourth quarter.
We've moved over to our debate desk. They've got the props out on the table, and we are ready to go. Our game of the week will be a big one as two teams from across county lines face off. That will come at the end of our show, but first, our analyst Sharia Slada has joined us in studio. And man, how excited are you for this incredible slate of games this weekend?
It's going to be a fun weekend, Luke. We're looking around in Athens at very own UGA. We have a top 10 college football matchup and some very important non-region high school games. And then there's no better way to kick it off than under the Friday night lights.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. So let's go ahead and jump into it. This week, we're introducing a new segment called Punt, Pass, or Rush. I'm going to pose a possible statement regarding how a team or individual will finish for the rest of the season. If you agree with the statement, then you can pass it. If you disagree with the statement, then you punt it. If you're not sure about the outcome, then you can run the ball. You kind of got it?
Absolutely. Catch me passing more than Tom Brady because I love my hot takes.
All right. We know how that works with you. So, our first outcome, Cedar Shoals will remain undefeated for the remainder of the season. Punt, pass, or rush?
Luke, I just don't see it. You can mark down a loss in Week 6 to Buford right now. Buford has a very balanced offensive attack, and they're currently 3-0. I also see them losing to Clark Central. If you remember correctly, Clark Central beat Coney County earlier this year, 28-21. That game, they had 175 yards on the ground and 215 passing. I think at least 2 losses for Cedar Shoals, so I'm going punt on this one.
Absolutely. I'm going to agree with you on this one. The Jaguars, they've struggled to remain consistent throughout seasons under Leroy Riles. I think he has the program going in the right direction, but I'm not all in on the statement, so I'm going to punt as well. All right, next outcome. Prince Avenue will make the playoffs even without star quarterback Brock Vandegrift. He's out 6 to 8 weeks with that leg injury, so punt, pass, or rush?
Put me down for pass. Currently, Prince Avenue stands at 3-1, and in his debut, Lucian Anderson III had a game. He had 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 154 quarterback rating. I think I have faith in this young fella to keep it going.
Absolutely. I agree with you once again, which is a little surprising, but I'm going to pass on this one. Prince Avenue, definitely going to get into the playoffs. However, depending on the time frame for when Vandegrift gets back in the quarterback position, that will determine how deep they make it into the playoffs. All right, going to our third possible outcome. North Oconee will win the Region 8 4A championship this year. Punt, pass, or rush?
Like I said, I'm going to go pass again. I think North Oconee is the team to beat in this region. They're currently 4-0, and they look unstoppable. Bubba Chandler and co. has the offense humming with 33 points per game. And really, their only real test is Oconee County, and I think they're fool's gold. They haven't played anybody yet, and I'm 100% going all in, pass.
Yeah, I definitely, along the same lines, I think it's going to come down to that final game of the season when Oconee travels down to North Oconee. I like the Titans in that matchup, so I'm going for the long ball and passing that one. All right, our last two statements, we're going to go with a little bit more individual statistics instead of team statistics. This possible outcome is O'Brien Barnett, Clark Central's running back, will rush for over 1,000 yards by the end of the season. Punt, pass, or rush?
I'm going pass. I think O'Brien Barnett is a very special running back. He's already ran for 484 yards in just 4 games. He's averaging 120 yards, and he has 6 games to go. I'm putting down for 1,200, and there's no coming back from that.
1,200. So he's not just going to eclipse it. He's going to go for 200 more. All right, I like it. But I'm going to run this one. Barnett, he's a tough back. I've seen him play a couple of times. Right now, he's ranked 17th in the state, in the entire state with rushing yards, but he's on the field every single play. I'm worried about how his legs are going to hold up, how the toughness he has, and how many hits he can take before it just gets to be too much. So I think he has a chance to get past 1,000 yards, but I'm not all in on it happening. All right, last possible outcome. Bubba Chandler, North Oconee's quarterback, will have 20 passing touchdowns by the end of the season. Punt, pass, or rush?
I'm going punt. Unlike North Oconee's offense, which never punts the ball, I just don't think he has the chance to keep throwing the football. They're just too balanced offensively. Put me down for punt.
All right, absolutely. Much like Bubba Chandler, I'm passing this one all day. All he has to do is average 2 touchdowns for the rest of the season, and I think he can do that. I mean, I think tonight he'll have at least 2 touchdown passes against that Franklin County defense, if not more. So I think we'll see. We'll have to see how all these outcomes come out, but I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, I think we have some pretty good takes going on there. Coming up next, we'll take a look at how the September sun is impacting local football teams. Also, Damian Gary and his son Jalen are not your standard father and son duo. Find out how they keep football and family separate. And we're less than 2 hours away from kickoff. We'll take a look at our games in the area and check out our game of the week.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Grady Sportsource. The Clark Central Gladiators are 3-1 this season. A big part of their success is a receiver who has 3 touchdowns through 4 games. But his story is much bigger than himself. Adia Randall joins us from the newsroom with this story.
Thanks, Luke. Laney Tagliaferri and I got an opportunity to explore a bond between a father and son duo at Clark Central. Damian Gary will officially be coaching his son Jalen for the first time this season. As many Athens football fans are just getting to know Jalen, they may remember his father and the success he had on the field.
Damian Gary was a star player for Clark Central in the 90s. He came back to coach in the 2000s. Nearly a decade later, he's back on Millage Avenue, this time with his son, Jalen.
When my dad called me and let me know the news, I kind of instantly said, I'm going to Clark Central.
You know, people don't often get a chance to coach their sons. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me, not only being home, but to be able to chance to coach him his senior year.
Jalen spent the first 3 years of his high school career at Oconee County High School and made the decision to transfer to Clark Central last spring.
You know, he kind of grew up around the program. Again, when I was coaching here, I mean, he was a ball boy. This is home for him, so I think it was easy for him to not only come back home, but a chance to play for his dad.
These past few months that Damian has been coaching Jalen as his official coach is not the first time he's taught him the ins and outs of the game.
I mean, if we're counting, coaching him in the yard, then it was definitely 3 or 4 years old. I can remember us being in the front yard, teaching him some passing routes, some of the same passing routes that we were doing at the time, giving him signals and everything.
Damon continued his football success down the street and played for the University of Georgia. He still holds the record for all-time punt return yardage. Jalen always aspires to be just like his dad every time he steps onto the field.
Before I changed my number in 8th grade in middle school, my number was 18. So it was just like him. I try to do everything like him. Everybody called me like Little DG, because I mean I was trying to be just like my dad.
I think he was playing pee-wee football. He had to be no more than 4 or 5 years old, and you know, he scored this touchdown, and he ran, and at the end zone, he dove in the end zone. And so he was trying to mimic me when I dove in the end zone versus Tennessee when I had my punt return, and I guess I couldn't be mad because, you know, I did the same thing. So that was a cool moment for me.
Coach Gary continues to inspire Jalen, which made the decision to jump over to Clark Central easy when his dad got the call that he would be coaching in Death Valley this season.
It was kind of hard for me to tell my head coach at Oconee because he did so much for me, coming up for the 9th grader and me being in the program and just showing me the way. So, but when my dad told me the news, like it was a dream come true.
The Clark Central community has welcomed back the Garys with open arms.
I came to school after the first game. They was like, what can we get number 5 T-shirts? Because everybody in the stands literally almost had a number 5 T-shirt.
Jalen has taken after his father's success and has had a great start to the season. With 14 receptions for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns, special moments and memories continue to be made on the field for the Gary family.
I would tell my mom every night, I'd be like, Mom, I just keep dreaming about scoring a touchdown in the Death Valley every day.
I think him scoring the first touchdown of the season was pretty cool. Again, it's just kind of seeing where he came from, what he's had to go through over this last year, and for him to kind of be the first one to score the touchdown to open the season, I think that was a very cool moment for both of us.
Like many father-son duos, the two have grown to be extremely close since Jalen's Pee-wee days, now able to anticipate one another's every move on the football field.
They're basically the exact same person out on the field.
There was one time in practice, somebody had either dropped the pass or missed the block, and they said the same thing at the same time, and the same demeanor and everything like that.
One might think that spending so much time on the field would present a challenge for the two to separate football and family, but the Gary boys work extra hard to ensure that football practice doesn't follow them home.
If we do have a bad day, we try not to bring that energy into the house, so we can, you know, be there for the rest of our family. Because, you know, he's got brothers and sisters at home that are waiting on him, and, you know, they could care less what happened at football practice.
Not only has it been fun for Jalen and Damian to be able to share a field this season, but something that their whole family has been able to enjoy.
We got a tribe, you know, coming to see him as, you know, nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters. I mean, it's just a blast to kind of see everybody in the stands supporting, you know, not only myself, but him as well.
At Oconee, it was literally just me, my mom, brother, sister, and uncles. So it's kind of fun to have my whole family come to my game on Fridays.
The Garys have a deep bond on the football field and both have high hopes for not only their team's success, but also for Jalen and his future.
We continue to work hard, take it day by day, and continue to get W's on Friday and hopefully be at Georgia State in December.
Jalen is following in the footsteps of his father on and off the field. As the Gladiator season continues, he will have his father on the sideline coaching him through it all.
Thanks, Zadia. I've seen Jalen Gary play multiple times this year, and he is an impressive player. He knows how to go up and get the ball, and his speed is elite. Our Game of the Week reveal is coming up later in the show. We'll head into commercial with what Oconee coach Travis Nolan had to say about the matchup.
We're excited about the challenge because it's going to be a man's game, especially up in the trenches. So it'll be fun. See where we're at.
What to expect when you're expecting
like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys, preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? New York.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back. The last couple of days have brought nice weather to the Athens area. However, high schools in the area have been battling the heat over the last couple of months. Mayan Patel is at Cedar Shoals High School to tell us how the heat has impacted scheduling for several local.
Yeah, Luke, I'm here at Cedar Shoals High School, and the Jaguars are on the road tonight to take on Oconee County, but the temperatures usually are in the upper 80s in Athens around this time. Last week, they were in the upper 90s, so local area schools had to adjust their practice schedules and figure out a way where, under the GHSA rules, they could beat the heat.
As the sun shines down across local high schools, football teams are forced to wait. The heat creates havoc.
When lives are at stake and their health is the biggest concern, you don't want to do anything that's going to put any kid at risk.
Teams must now adjust their daily practice plans and game preparations based on a small handheld device.
We use a temperature scale called the wet bulb globe thermometer, and that happened in 2012 when the Georgia High School Association met with various athletic trainers from the national level, local level, state level, and instituted a practice and heat and humidity policy. So when that temperature reaches 86, then you start modifying practices. So from 86 to 89, there's a modification of not being able to go over 2 hours and only being able to wear a certain amount of pads in football. From 89 to 92, they can only go out for an hour with no pads, and then over 92, they have to cancel practice.
Over the past few weeks, the high temperatures forced change on North Oconee's football team. Most days, they pushed their practice start time until the sun went down. Thursday, the Titans arrived early for a 6:30 a.m. start to beat the heat.
It is frustrating. Our mission statement is to be able to handle adversity with toughness and great maturity. So, it directly applies to our approach.
Arndt says he starts looking at the temperatures around 1 p.m. every day. Then he consults with the athletic trainers. Finally, he makes a decision and relays it to the team.
Coach Arndt will he'll send us a remind at about the end of third block, and then it'll just tell us whenever we're supposed to be here.
Wednesday night, North Oconee's practice finished at 8 p.m. Less than 12 hours later, the Titans were back on the gridiron. Arndt says the excessive heat affects everyone on his staff.
It makes it tough, for sure. We encourage them to make sure they're eating before they go to bed. We're encouraging them to eat and drink before practice. So if they're doing their part at home, we feel pretty confident that by Friday they'll still be fresh.
Though it isn't always easy.
What we see in our high school kids is they skip breakfast or they don't eat well throughout the day. High school kids, you know, what we serve in the cafeteria, it does meet food regulations, but it is always not what they want to eat. So they'll miss a meal and also may not have some resources to get the food that they would choose to eat.
Across county lines, Leroy Riles continues to educate his Cedar Shoals players on how to stay safe in the summer sun.
Let's go, bud! It was 40 degrees or 400 degrees. We're going to tell them to constantly hydrate because, one, that's the best way to get your body back from the physical contact. Hydration, eating proper foods and vitamins and stuff like that. So we do that anyways. I think with young adolescents, if you make it too big of a deal, that's all they'll think about, and they'll worry about the elements instead of thinking about what they need to do on the field.
Since implementing the statewide policies in 2012, the state of Georgia has shown improvement.
Georgia was the leading state in high school deaths related to exertional heat illness until 2012. After that, we've had no deaths in regulated GHSA practices.
From a personal standpoint, I hate going in the evenings because I want to be at home with my little girl and putting her to bed. But from their standpoint, if this is the way we got to do it to keep ourselves fresh to win ball games, this is how we're going to do it.
Weather-wise, it's set to be a nice weekend here in Athens, but Luke, it looks like area teams will have to go back to monitoring the wet bulb temperature because next week it's going to climb back above 90.
Thanks, Mayan. I'm sweating just sitting here thinking about going outside and practicing. Up next, we'll take a look at our games in the area, including the matchups for North Oconee and Cedar Shoals, who are both trying to remain undefeated. After that, it's time for Shreyas and I to talk about our game of the week. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Welcome back. It's time to get to tonight's games. All 3 private schools in the Athens area are off this week, but there is still football to be played. I'm joined once again by our analyst, Shreyas Latta. Let's start off with Clark Central going on the road to face Lanier. The Gladiators are coming in at 3-1, and Lanier is a perfect 3-0. What are we expecting from this game tonight?
First of all, I think this is going to be a great game. I think the matchup to watch for in this game is Clark Central's offense versus Lanier's defense. Clark Central is averaging 25 points per game, while Lanier's defense, led by stud Philip Webb, has only given up 9 points per game. I think Lanier defense is just going to be too much to handle for Clark Central, and the Gladiators will lose this matchup.
All right, well, I kind of agree. I think Clark Central's offense is going to have to put up some big numbers, but their defense goes way overlooked. A lot of people like to talk about Isaac Ward and O'Brien Barnett, who we discussed earlier. They have a veteran defensive line group, though. They came up with some huge stops against Oconee County in a very close game a few weeks ago. So I'm taking Clark Central to go on the road and upset Lanier. Hot take right there, but we're going to put it in the pocket and save it for later. Next on the board, we have North Oconee traveling up to Franklin County. North Oconee is coming in at a stellar 4-0, and Franklin County is coming in at 0-2. What are you thinking about this game?
First of all, Luke, this is a true David versus Goliath matchup. The thing to watch for in this game is North Oconee's running game versus Franklin County's defense. North Oconee has averaged 200 yards on the ground in every single game, while Franklin County's defense is coming in after 2 weeks rest. I think this game is over by halftime. I have North Oconee rolling it out there. They're going to have their backup QB. They might have me coming in. I think it'll be over quick.
All right, so you're keeping the hot takes rolling here. The backup QB coming in for the second half. I agree with this one, though. It's going to be all North Oconee. Franklin County struggled early on in the season, and like you said, coming off 2 weeks rest, they had a bye week and then a rain-shortened game. So I'm worried about them coming out playing sluggish. I have the Titans moving to 5-0 after tonight. And now it's the time we've all been waiting for. It's our Game of the Week announcement. Are you ready, Shreyas?
I've been waiting for this all week. Can't wait to show off my arm.
All right, let's get to it.
Hey guys, I'm Shreyas Latta, your analyst for the week. I'm at Cedar Shoals High School where the 3-0 Jaguars are heading on the road to
Oconee County High School, where the Jaguars and Warriors will meet for just the 10th time ever. And this is your game of the week. Cedar Shoals is fresh off a bye week, but they racked up 342 rushing yards in their last game. Meanwhile, Oconee County put up 333 rushing yards last week in a weather-shortened game. It will be a battle of high-powered offenses at Warrior Stadium Friday night. Man, that was an impressive throw. I mean, it's over 11 miles from Cedar Shoals to to Oconee County, and you're just making it look easy.
You know, I've been putting the work in the gym and watching tape, and I'm just looking for the new starting job when Daniel Jones gets fired by the Giants.
All right, that's a little big talk, but enough about our skills. Let's talk about these two explosive offenses tonight. Cedar Shoals coming in, averaging over 40 points per game. Oconee coming in, averaging around 28 points per game. So do you expect to see a high-scoring contest?
I think this will be an extremely high-scoring game, Luke. Cedar Shoals is a very run-focused team, and that starts from dual-threat quarterback Jalen Rusher. He had 92 yards versus Greenbrier, and in that same game, they ran amok. The Jaguars had 342 yards on the ground. On the other side of things, Max Johnson in Oconee County, everything starts and ends with him. Max Johnson had 4 passing touchdowns, all to his brother Jake Johnson, in a 35-12 victory versus Spalding County. After week 4, though, it seems like they added another dimension to their offense. They had 333 yards on the ground, including a 55-yard run by Max Johnson that led to a touchdown. It's going to be interesting to see how Max Johnson and co plan to attack the Cedar Shoals defense. Whether it's run or pass, we know Max Johnson will be involved.
Absolutely. I mean, here's what Cedar Shoals had to say just about Max Johnson and what that offense has to offer.
You don't contain him. I mean, we hope to just slow him down a little bit, but he's a really good player. Not only that, he got good players around him.
Yeah. I think the key for Max Johnson in Oconee County is going to be how much protection he can get from that offensive line. Cedar Shoals has a pretty good defensive line, so what can we expect from both of these teams defensively?
Oconee's defense is known for creating havoc. They caused 2 forced turnovers in their last game versus Morgan County, and they also only held Morgan County to only 167 yards total. The matchup to watch for in this game is Oconee County's offensive line versus Cedar Shoals' defense. The offensive line has a lot of experience on it with only 1 sophomore, and the rest are upperclassmen. How the offensive line creates holes versus the running game will be key. Cedar Shoals' defense is coming off a game where they only gave up 83 yards on the ground versus Greenbrier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd be so quick to discount Cedar Shoals' defense, though. Oconee County head coach Travis Nolan wasn't shy earlier this week when it came to praising that Jaguars defensive front.
When you play a team that's as talented as they are, and their front 7 are really, really big and strong, you know, they can be a challenge in both aspects because you got to pass block them when you're trying to throw it, and then you got to move those big bodies when you're trying to run it.
The defensive line could be the difference maker for Cedar Shoals in this one if they can just outplay Oconee in the trenches. But before we get out of here, I gotta ask, who is your pick for our game of the week?
Ooh, this is a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Oconee County. I just think they're gonna hand Cedar Shoals their first loss of the season.
That's a bold prediction. I'm picking the Cedar Shoals Jaguars. I think they're gonna go into Warrior Stadium 3-0, coming off a bye week. They've got a ton of rest. I think they're gonna be healthy, ready to go, and hand the Warriors their second loss of the season. But no doubt it's setting up to be a fun Friday night under the lights for teams from the Athens area. Be sure to follow us on social media at Grady Sports.
And check out the Athens Banner Herald Best of Preps podcast. I'm Trey Slaughter.
And I'm Luke Gamble. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Grady Sportsource. Good night.
Grady News Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.